began my research into these multipliers and diminishers, I really was on this mission, almost this kind of captain multiplier kind of mission, that I was going to rid the world, the corporate world, of diminishers. Because they were a problem, are they not? But, you know, a couple years into this, I've come to realize that they're not the problem. You know, I studied these extremes, these multipliers, these diminishers, but what I found is the real problem are those of us who are in the middle. The accidental diminisher, the good person, the nice person, the manager or leader with the best of intentions who, despite those intentions, is still having a diminishing impact, shutting down people without knowing about it. Most of the diminishers I studied had no clue of the diminishing impact they were having on their organization. Is it possible that we can do our greatest damage when we hold the very highest of expectations? And is it possible even that the more noble our intentions, the more likely we are to have a diminishing impact? This is a question I want to explore with you for the next few minutes, and I want you to join me in asking this question: how might I, with the very best of intentions, be shutting down smart, capable people around me, people I value? I want to share with you a few ways that I find this happens over and over. A number of these are things that I really struggle with. You know, not the least of which is this very first, the idea guy. Now, the idea guy is a person that just bounds into the office bursting with ideas. Hey, what about this? And I was out on my run and I had this thought, and I went to the REACH conference, and they've got all these ideas rumbling around their head, and they're spewing ideas. They're a fountain of ideas. And it's not that we think that our ideas are better than anyone else. We think that our ideas will do what? Inspire, spark, catalyze other ideas, right? What actually happens to those of us who are working around the idea guy? We shut down. Or we spend our time chasing ideas. Hey, that sounds pretty good. Let me do this. Okay, a website, great. A task force, okay. A survey, and pretty soon where do we end up? Exactly back where we started. And we start to think, well, I don't need to worry my pretty little head over this, because if I need an idea, where do I go? Yeah, the idea guy. I go to the fountain because it goes off every hour, right? And I'll just grab one of those ideas and do something with it. What about the leader who's always on? Always engaged, always present, always something to say, always something to contribute. Perhaps, like maybe a few people in this room, they were blessed with the gift of gab. What happens around the always-on leader? Yeah, there's no room for anyone else because, right, well, they've like expanded like a gas, right? And they're taking up all the space in the meeting. And people are thinking, well, I would contribute if I could breathe, right? If there were any oxygen in the room. So they shut down other people. Well, what do we do to the always-on leader? Because they do more than shut down others. What else happens? What do you do with the human being who lacks an off switch? Yeah, you tune them out. And what do they begin to sound like? Exactly that. Is this like the Peanuts generation? Yeah, they sound, I mean, it took me till I was about 30-something to figure out that that teacher was actually talking. It was just the kids who couldn't hear anything. Yeah, they start to shut down others, but we shut down them. And we don't hear these kind of leaders. It's like they're talking and they don't know their microphone isn't on. What about the rescuer? This is the good person. This is perhaps a person who teaches Sunday school. This is the person that doesn't like to see people suffer, struggle, make mistakes, or fail. And what do we do when we see someone struggling and suffering? What does like the good person, the good leader in us want to do? Rescue or help. Sometimes it's this big heroic rescue, right? Like dun da da, I'm here to save the day. We come in on the white horse. We heroically save the day. But more often than not, it's more subtle, right? Often as a leader, we just extend a hand of help. But what happens when the leader is too helpful, too early, too often? What happens to the people around them? Yeah, they become dependent. And what do they come to believe? Yeah. What about the Pacesetter? This is a leader who's leading by example. Haven't we been taught this? This is a leader who says, I'm going to set the pace for quality, for agility, for innovation, for customer service. I'm going to set the pace. Other people will notice what I'm doing, and kind of because I'm the leader, they will naturally follow, right? But does it work that way? What happens when the leader gets out ahead a car length or two? Do other people speed up? They tend to hold back. Now, I've got 4 children. My youngest, he just turned 11 last week. This kid loves to run. There's nothing he loves more than to run, and he loves to race mom to the bus stop. Okay, of course he loves it. Why? He wins, of course, because I'm in good mom mode, right? And good mom mode is it's close, or he wins. But every now and then I forget, and I go into this sort of middle-aged, like, wow, this might be the last person on the planet I can still run faster than. Okay? This is it, my last glory moment. And I go speeding down to the bus stop, and I get there first, of course. Catching my breath, I turn around, and what is young Joshua doing? He's walking. It's almost a saunter. And what does he say when he catches up? Now, I want you to think like an 8-year-old. Yeah, he says, we weren't racing that time, Mom. Right? What happens when we can't keep up with the superstar or the manager who's setting the pace? More often than not, when we set the pace, we create spectators, not followers. What about the rapid responder? This is the person who's on it. This is like see a bear, shoot a bear kind of logic. This is the person who clears their inbox every 22 minutes. I'm on it, I got it. What happens, and of course their intention is that their fast decisions, their fast actions are going to keep everyone moving fast, right? Agility, flexibility. What happens around the rapid responder? Let them handle it. We all know that feeling, an email note sent to you but copied to that rapid responding boss or colleague. Heaven forbid you have to get up from your chair, go talk to a colleague, run a report, think, for heaven's sakes. And what do you do when you realize that she's probably already answered? You click delete. Or what about this one? This one strikes home to me, the optimist. This is the positive, can-do, sunny side kind of leader. Haven't we been told for years that leaders need to be optimistic? I mean, I've read all the research, the data, all the positive physiological benefits of optimism. But what happens when the leader sees the sunny side? What role do other people get to play? I learned this one with a sting. This one came as a hard learning lesson. For me, it was a couple years ago. I am working on a pretty complex project, a really intense piece of research and writing. And at one point in the project, my colleague says to me, he goes, Liz, I need you to stop saying that. Naturally curious, I said something brilliant like, saying what? He goes, you know that thing you say all the time. Well, I had no clue what it was I said all the time. And so it was like he'd been waiting months to give me this little speech. And he said, how hard can it be? We can do this. We've got this. We can figure it out. How hard can it be? Now I'm sensing this optimism. And what I'm explaining to him is actually that's my way of saying we're smart, we're capable, we'll figure this out, we can do it. Which I thought was particularly helpful. And he said, that is the thing I need you to stop saying. I said, why? He said, because what we're doing, Liz, is hard. And as my manager, I need you to acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, Liz. And I'm like, oh, choking it back. I'm like, you know what? What we are doing is hard. It's hard. And of course, I'm thinking, because I'm taking in the feedback, as we all would, right? I'm like, I can stop saying that. If that is diminishing to him, I can stop saying that. Because how hard can that be? Well, you know, I found out it's actually pretty hard. It's pretty hard, but I've learned to add entirely new phrases to my vocabulary. I say things now like, what we're doing is hard. They're very sophisticated phrases. It's hard. We're going to struggle. We might make mistakes and we're probably going to fail at a few things. My team loves it when they hear this from me, and I love it when they hear it because after I do enough of this, it's like they lean back and they nod their head and they said, okay, Liz, here you go. And I say, but how hard can it be? We can do this. Because they're not asking me to give up my optimism. What they're asking me to do is acknowledge the struggle, that we're learning, that we're growing. How might you, with the very best of intentions, as a leader, as a trainer, as a parent, a colleague, how might you be shutting down smart, capable people? Maybe it's one of these 6. Maybe it's something entirely different. Can you lock in one? What might be your vulnerability?